Hey everybody, it's Captain Kyle, and I'm here to talk about the Decepticons. The most treacherous, most evil, most vile mechanisms throughout the known universe. And of course, we all have our favorites. Now I'm going to go over my 5 top G1 Decepticons. I did it with the Autobots, and now I'm doing it with the cons. And we're going to see, you probably have some of the same ones. Some of yours might be different, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments what your top 5 are of the G1 Decepticons. Be right back. Anyway, the first one is none other than Air Commander Starscream. Yes, Starscream has always been one of my favorite Decepticons. Now, one reason is because when I was younger, way back in the 80s, I didn't have Megatron for a long time. I actually got him as a mail away eventually. But who was leader of the Decepticons since Megatron wasn't around? Starscream, I lead. So I've always enjoyed Starscream. I always thought he should have had a chance to be leader. And this is the G1 version. It's actually the G1 reissue. It's like the first reissue that Takara put out years ago. So it doesn't have the really funky guns or the missiles that are like that friggin' long. But you can see the deco on him, pure G1. He's got the Decepticon symbols on his wings. I put them on that way. I think I've seen them other ways, but this is the way I put them on. Of course, he's got his stickers. Not a big fan of stickers, but you kind of have to with a lot of the G1s, unless they do a retro reissue. Which I even like that one, so But yeah, I like all the Starscreams that have come out. I really like the new Earthrise. I even like the Coronation. I like the Prime animated. That guy was fucking hilarious. You know, so Starscream has always been a favorite. I got a whole case full of different Starscreams. From Armada and Cybertron and Robot Masters and World's Smallest and Masterpieces, and so I do enjoy Starscream quite a bit. Now, he is G1. He doesn't have a heck of a lot of articulation. The legs don't move for shit. The arms move back and, up and down, and you can shoot out his missiles and guns. He's just overall a cool looking Transformer, and he could have been named like Ulchar. Thanks to Bob Buniansky for stepping in there. So the instructions for this guy actually say to take everything off, transform the main body, and then put everything back on. Well, you do have to take off the fists. And like many of us in the 80s, the landing gear I put inside his cockpit. It's not like we're putting a Diaclone pilot in there. But I never took everything off. I would just bend the wings back, switch around the nose, fold back the arms, pop that into place, move the wings, move the tail fins, fold up the feet, and ta-da. Now, I do have the missiles somewhere. I just didn't break them out for this because they're so easy to lose, the original missiles. So I just put his launchers on there the right way. And of course, all you can do is put the fists aside, but he has a nice landing gear. So pop that in there. And there's Air Commander Starscream in his awesome jet mode. I always thought it was very cool that Air Commander Starscream was such a brightly colored jet. And he has had so many stories written about him. I loved the Underbase saga in the comics. There were some Christmas ones in the UK. He's just a really cool Transformer, though he was robbed. You should check out that video. So that's my first one, Starscream. He might be a favorite of a lot of you guys. Another one that I'm pretty sure is a favorite of a lot of you is Soundwave. Now, Soundwave is one tall dude. Now, this one is not a reissue. This is a genuine G1 Transformer. And because it doesn't have a rub sign, first release set of Soundwave. And I got this guy when I had a store years ago. He was better than the one I had, which had very loose legs. And he's just an awesome tape player. Now, no one really uses tape players anymore. And he was actually a micro cassette player, which is really used for like dictation and stuff. But you can see he's got his weapon, he's got his shoulder cannon, he's got the distinctive toy face, which is a little bit different from the one in the cartoon. But he's a cool looking dude. Now, he had a little bit more articulation, though bending at the knee was backwards, but he could kick forward. He cannot kick back. The arms could go all the way around, no waist articulation, bending at the elbow, and the head could turn, which is, one of the few G1s of that time period that the head could turn, but it's part of his transformation, and that's why it could turn. And of course, he has the chest compartment where he can hold cassettes, and in the cartoon, he held a lot of them. I don't have a cassette in there currently because that would be adding another Transformer, Buzzsaw or Ravage or Laserbeak, but I always loved the cassettes too. They were great that they were his minions. Now, he came to an untimely end in Headmasters, basically sitting there blasting at point blank range with Blaster until they both croaked, and he was then gathered up by his cassettes and rebuilt into Sound Blaster, which is like, what are they kind of paying homage to the bot that killed him? Blaster, of course, became Twincast, but the transformation was clever, and if you had this out on your desk, people might actually think in those days that it was a tape player, but a very nice tape player indeed. And the weapons, he came with, I think, like 3 missiles. You have to put the missile aside, but there is weapon storage for the other 2 because you can open up the battery cover, which is stiff because I don't open this much, but you could put the batteries inside the back, and there you go, hidden away. He also has a little switch on the side, which is doesn't move. Oh, it does move. Now, that usually was like the mode of the tape player, like long play or standard play, so you could get more out of your tapes. And he has a volume control on the side. No microphone, unless you want to take out the shoulder cannon and use that as a microphone, or you could just hit record and talk into it like this. So in the case of Megatron versus Starscream, case number 73821496138, don't ask me to repeat those numbers. Yeah, he could be used as a little dictation-taking player. A lot of people are like, oh, he's a boombox. No, he is not a boombox. He is a microcassette player, and perfectly in size for that. Now, Blaster is a boombox, but he is not boombox size. He holds mini cassettes, or micro cassettes. So yeah, this is actually more in his tape player mode, more the size of an actual tape player. So Soundwave, a lot of people love him. I do too. All right, now a couple that you may not find to be your favorites, or you might, you never know. But the first one I want to bring out is Slugslinger. Now he is a Targetmaster, so he came out like Series 4. And the reason I loved Slugslinger, he was the first of the Targetmasters that I purchased. I loved a number of things about him. One, I just love his overall look. This one has a little bit of yellowing on it. I actually did sell my original Slugslinger back in the Great Purge, as I sometimes call it. So this is actually on loan to me from Tony and Rose of RetroCon, which is an awesome con. You should check it out. They're not sponsoring this video, but they did lend me a toy. And I always thought he was very cool because he was like a Benspin Cloud Car. He had 2 cockpits. Now, Caliburst is his Targetmaster partner, though what I loved about Caliburst is not his mode, but the fact that you could take off the extension of the gun and you could still put it in his hand and on him in vehicle mode. So it was like this was the pre-Targetmaster version of Slugslinger before he traded in his weapon to have a Nebulon in it, or, you know, whatever continuity of the Targetmasters you want to go with. But I always thought he was really neat. The transformation was pretty cool. Now, he does have a little bit more articulation than some, but not as much as others. He's still G1. He can bend at the elbow. You can actually move his arms out to the side, so he could be, you know, lying back on a lounge chair or something. The legs that you just saw do move forward. You can kick. You can actually bend at the knee. And it's part of the transformation, but you can like point the toes. You could have him be a ballerina, whatever you want to do with him. But I always thought he was the coolest of the Targetmasters. I mean, I'm not saying Misfire and Trigger Happy weren't cool toys, but I just thought this one was the coolest of them. And he did have that neat dual nose, dual cockpitted aircraft mode, and even has landing gear that comes out the bottom here. Like I said, you can have the Targetmaster, or you can just put the tip, just the tip, on the front there. So again, it's a pre-Targetmaster version of Slugslinger, which the others you couldn't do as easily with. But cool colors, despite the yellowing. And that is number 3. 2 more to go. So my next one is also a Targetmaster, but he is the next level. He's a Targetmaster Junior Quake. Of all the Targetmasters, I mean, I'm not saying I didn't like Spitzer, and certainly Needle Nose, very cool. But what I loved about this guy is, again, he does have Tip Top and Heater, and they could combine into a weapon, but he also comes with an additional little weapon that you can put in his hand, and you could also later on use it for his tank barrel. So you could also have a pre-Targetmaster version of Quake. Now I like his colors. I do have the new one as well, but this is a G1 video, so I'm not showing him. And the evolution of Quake would be like don't anticipate that for a while. They need to come out with some more Quakes. But I did like his look, the cool colors, the gray, the blue, the maroon. Now, articulation-wise, he couldn't move his legs back and forth. He could kind of do a side kick, but the arms could move all the way around. Very limited articulation. Head doesn't turn. But I just loved the combination of Tip Top and Heater and the extra gun that was his barrel. So let's take a look at his mode. And the thing is, he's not very kibbly on the back. He looks like a robot, but then when he transforms, he's a really nice tank. As with a lot of G1s, we didn't think so at the time, but the transformations are pretty simple. I mean, we didn't think they were overly complex, but we didn't realize what was coming. So in his tank mode, you could take, say, Tip Top was the best one to put as his turret, and you could take Heater, and you could put him in this back area, so he was a well-armed tank. Now, if you were using this, you could even put that on top of either Tip Top or Heater, so he had even extra firepower. But I did love the fact that you could take and put aside the Targetmasters and just put that in the front there, and he's still a very, very functional tank. Again, pre-Targetmaster version of Quake. Really cool looking tank. He's got the little wheels on the bottom, and he actually rolls pretty well. Beats out a ton of the other, of the Siege and the Combiner Wars stuff. And a quick and easy transformation, and if you didn't want to use the Targetmasters, there he is, fully armed. I mean, I used to do all kinds of interesting things with my G1s. I would take the Pretenders out of their shells, because they shouldn't be in a shell. Now, I'd take them out of their shells and use those bots as Cybertronian Autobots and Decepticons. So I used my imagination. All right, so the final one, and this is a bit of a cheat, and do you know why? Because Decepticons cheat. It's in their nature. My fifth most favorite is actually Reflector, who is 3 bots in one form. So yes, it's a bit of a cheat. So you could say, oh, but now you got 7. No, we're calling this Reflector. Even though these guys don't want to stand up on the turntable of doom, spinning this is going to be a pain in the ass. But we have Viewfinder. We have Spyglass. No, that's Spyglass, that's Spectro. So Spectro, Spyglass, and Viewfinder. I used to have these down when I was younger. I got this guy as a mail away. I loved Reflector on the show. The toy didn't quite look like him, but I was still happy to have a toy version of Reflector. And I'm gonna turn them slowly, and they're still gonna fall over. So Viewfinder, you can pretty much tell the whole camera thing. You can even look through the lens, though it's kinda not the clearest. Not even close to clear. Whereas Spyglass and Spectro looked like bots, and you couldn't really tell that they fell down a lot, but they really didn't look like necessarily anything in particular. I'm putting that aside so they can stand a little more firmly, hopefully. I mean, as far as articulation, Viewfinder could kick forward, he could bend his knee, that's all good. He could kick backwards, but no going out to the side. The arm couldn't really go all the way around because would run into this chest piece and this back piece when you're going backwards. So, but they also had 3 distinctive guns, which it's neat that when they did the new one in the Siege line, the Generation Selects, that they included those guns. They also included it in the Camera Brothers that I reviewed, which have a whole bunch of extra weapons, but they also have homages to these originals. So Viewfinder, and then there's Spyglass, who his arms could go all the way around. Can't really turn his head. If you can't, oh, you can. It was stiff. Now this is actually one of those counterfeit reissues. And yes, I fixed the arms because we had a little bit of an issue when I put them into camera mode and took them out. The little pegs on the end came off. Hopefully I've set it up so they will not pop off, but I know how to get them out just in case. Spyglass could kick forward. His knees, though, bent the wrong way, just like Soundwave. You could actually move his shoulders back a little bit. So, a cool little robot. Whereas Spectro, very similar in that his arms would go all the way around, though with his gun there, that would cause a problem. You have to take the gun out to have it go all the way around. His head could also turn. No chance with the viewfinder. And he could kick forward mildly, like kick someone in the shin. So let's go all the way back, and he did have a bend in the knee, so you could kind of have him, I'm flying like Peter Pan. He also has a little button on his head, though this being the counterfeit reissue, they did not put the little spring in there. So I just press it down, and I now regret it because it's not coming out. Come on, buddy. Ah, I wiggled it a little bit, it popped up. So I think there is a spring in there. My mistake, I disparaged a counterfeit company in China. I don't want the whole country after me. So yeah, the button goes up and down and makes a nice clicking sound. And you did have a lens that you had to put on. Then you have the flash. And there are missiles, which I have put away, but you could put the missile in here and you could actually shoot missiles out. But it was just a cool camera. I mean, I do have to admit that as far as the representation of the character from the G1 cartoon, the Siege is much more accurate to that, as is the set of the Camera Brothers. But this is from the original Diaclone, or was it? No, I think this was Micro Change. My bad. I can see the comments now. And so there he is as a camera. Again, I cheated a little bit, but this is definitely one of my favorite Decepticons from the G1 era. So there you have it. You may agree with me on some of these, you may not. I'd love to see in the comments your favorite 5 G1 Decepticons. Don't include Autobots. Those do-gooders have no place in the comments section. And I really hope you're enjoying these videos as much as I enjoy making them. And I will be doing some favorite 5 G2 Autobots, favorite 5 G2 Decepticons, and Beast Wars, and all that stuff. Might skip Machine Wars, because there's only 6 of each. I may just review the entire line. And I will put links to all these guys in the description if you want to check them out. And of course, you can get the Titans Return version of this guy. And there's so many Soundwaves. Oh my God, you should see my shelf over there. It is chock full. But while you're mulling over these guys and filling out who you think are the best 5 G1 Decepticons, you can also check out my top 5 G1 Autobots in this video over here. And we'll see you next time. As always, have fun and good hunting.